Hello to all the farmers. I hope everything is good today. From Africa, I'm bringing you along because we're going to see. I'm on the island of spices par excellence, Zanzibar. I'm taking you to see all the spices that we usually see at home, but we don't know where they come from. First little tour, Hakuna Matata. Spice farm, which basically means here they grow the various spices. Now the environment is nice. Let's go see which spices. Also because Zanzibar is the island of spices. All right, now we're going in. Definitely some very interesting things. So here they grow. It has always been used as the spice island of the Sheikh of Oman, who basically used to trade 4 million different spices. We're also relatively close to India, so let's go check out the first thing. So if you look at this stuff here, you might say it's trash, but no, it's actually good. Here we're in a vanilla plantation. Basically, this one you see here, if they let me touch it, it climbs up. This is vanilla. It takes 2 years to make the flower, and in the second year it produces inside the same flower. We have both the male and the female, and the pod takes almost 6 months to ripen. And keep in mind that here it costs a lot. Here it's the most expensive spice in all of Zanzibar, which is nothing compared to what we pay for it. But just to give you an idea, that's why they grow it. All the plants you see are all vanilla plants. So if you look, there's a small enclosure here where they're basically letting everything biodegrade. But we have water. Actually, Zanzibar is very rich in water. You see here they cultivate and so on. Now, from what I understand, this farm isn't exactly a real farm. I mean, I think it's more of a tourist attraction. But overall, let's say the spices are real. I mean, they're a bit, you see, they had the little show, but it's interesting. So what you're seeing here is a coffee tree. Now, I'll explain. Because you might say, but I've always seen coffee as a bush. Well, this is coffee, and as you can see, it needs to be harvested and all that. It's one of the varieties I was telling you about, which is Robusta. Arabica is a much, much smaller bush. Robusta isn't that good, even according to them. Tanzanian coffee isn't Robusta, it's not that good. Arabica tastes better when you drink it on its own. But Robusta is grown because it's used to blend and give unique aromas to coffee. So, if you need to make a blend of different varieties, Robusta is one of the best choices. And as you can see, they grow the trees here. Now we need to see if they can also show me Arabica in the bigger farms, because they told me they can show it but not film it. Let's see if we can manage. There's something I haven't told you that I founded. A new company in the coffee world called Cortissimo. Why am I telling you about it? The formula is great and the coffee tastes amazing. That's because in our capsules, which are compostable, there's more coffee than in the others, 5.9 grams of really great coffee. We have a lot of blends, and we also have loose leaf teas and herbal teas all inside the capsule. Why am I telling you this? Because Cortissimo is the coffee. No hassle, made without constraints, 24-48 hours. With your first order of 2 packs, you'll have coffee at home. The machine is a gift, and if it breaks, I'll send you another one for free, because Cortissimo is coffee with no strings attached. Is there a monthly minimum coffee purchase required for a year? Absolutely not, so I'll make myself some coffee. I'll leave my discount code below, which gives you a lifetime 10% discount on any product. Just enter Cortissimo 10. That's because the company is mine and I want to give you something unique. Anyway, the coffee is ready, folks. Let's get back to the video then. This is Kapok. Basically, it's a kind of alternative cotton that they have. The translation in English is Kapok, and it's used to reinforce pills in the machine. Okay, well, I don't know. Anyway, it has this plant, and basically it makes all these little bulbs here. If you go and see them, they collect them, and they're basically cotton, much softer. They use them for mattresses and pillows. Very good. Very interesting thing. I think I translated it correctly. Basically, the seeds open up and release this white fluff here that is then used. So the goal, let's say, is for all the seeds to open. Or, as our good friend told us, you make a new tree from it, because here they have it. You plant a new tree, another plant grows. Well, this one is simple. Look at it here. Ginger. It takes about 6 to 7 months to be ready naturally at their temperatures. When it starts turning yellow, it means it's ready. We can grow it too, right? At home, it just takes much longer. Usually, I see that it takes more time. And anyway, it doesn't have the same taste. Here they call it the Prince of Spices. Not because of the spiciness, they said. For them, the king is the clove flower. When I asked about chili pepper, they said no. However, actually, their ginger is much spicier than the one we usually get. One of the most interesting things is that it's full of chickens. I think they let them grow a bit and then they take them, because here basically the meat that people eat is chicken. These here, meanwhile, that we're seeing are young pineapples, and here's a little tutorial on how to do it at home too. This here basically is the crown of the pineapple that we usually eat. Some people put it in water. Notice that we usually get it with the leaves cut off. What do? They plant the crown in the ground, like in that case, and it grows into this one. It takes 6 months for the crown to start growing, like in that case, and it takes another 6 months for the real, actual pineapple to grow. The cycle takes a year. Keep in mind, though, a year at these temperatures. So that means that in Italy, usually, even if the crown starts growing, it's hard for it to produce the whole fruit. Anyway, everything turned out really well. Come on, considering everything, I feel like they don't really sell us anything from here. Now, I want to show you a special plant. You won't believe it unless you see it. Here it is. This is cardamom. So as you can see, it produces these little seeds here. We use cardamom in herbal teas. Usually the seed is produced by the root. Generally, as they explained to me, though I didn't quite understand, there should be 2 roots. The plant is majestic, it's this one here. What matters to us is just this part, so they go and pick these little fruits here, which are the classic cardamom. Then I think they dry them. But this is the spectacular plant in the middle of the path. See this tree here? They basically make a distinction. These here, they call them small avocados. They're small to them because they also have a larger variety. About experiments. They're saying that these avocados can be grown in our area, so they're very similar, if I'm not mistaken, to the varieties we're using in Sicily. Let's go see this crop now. There's a video, because I grew it myself. This one you're seeing here is lemongrass. It's used a lot here, both for flies, but I've also been told it's good for people with high blood pressure and those who suffer from insomnia. They make teas with it. Now, in my opinion, we have other plants besides lemongrass that are a bit more pleasant to drink. But it has a lot of properties. We can grow this plant. There's a video because I had grown it. We also plant this at the beginning of summer, and by the end of summer, it usually dies. They're doing something with it. All right, lemongrass. No, not lemongrass. As you can see, there are a lot of things we can grow at home, so why not? But I'll tell you a clarification later. This plant here, on the other hand, you all definitely know it. Everything is used from it. So, a tip, the bark is used. What is it? It's cinnamon. Now, both the leaves, these ones, which have an almost recognizable scent, not very strong, are used. You can tell they use a lot more of them as leaves. To me, it also brings to mind mulled wine, cinnamon and mulled wine together. They cut and slightly score the bark, which grows back anyway. See, these parts have been scored, the bark grows back, and so on. Cinnamon is basically made by scraping everything a bit, but it doesn't stop there. Why do we also take the roots? Cinnamon is amazing, folks. Cinnamon is amazing. I didn't expect that. Now, they use the roots for colds and headaches. So, you see, they basically use the whole plant. Everything. See, this here is the root they use. It's a plant they really love precisely because it has so many properties. They used it, and you know, it basically tastes like Vicks Vapor, really strong, and they use it for healing purposes. One thing to clarify, which is important to say, especially here, but I also see it in Congo, is the need to do agriculture many times. So to do agriculture as we imagine it. So planting, rationalizing, and so on. Why? Because being almost on the equator, you basically go and harvest continuously. So it's more a matter of gathering. This is what, in my opinion, doesn't even lead them to develop a system that could help them have much, much more food. Why? Because they're used to, when you're hungry, you go into the forest and basically find what you need. That's how it works. Of course, though, they deal with issues that come from the fact that you might end up eating only bananas and mangoes for 2 months. And that's just one side of it, though. It's still interesting. For us, agriculture developed because there was a need. During winter, there was nothing to eat. For them, instead, it's more about gathering. So if we see them a bit disorganized, that's kind of the reason. We know this one because it's turmeric, and there's a video about this one, too. The result I got was, anyway, a slightly smaller turmeric, but I have to say the effect wasn't bad at all. Here too, I published something a few years ago specifically about turmeric. If you want to start, just go to the greengrocer, get some turmeric root, and from there you can multiply it and basically grow the plant. If you manage to do it by May, you'll have it ready by around September, as I told you. So that's the point. And then another advantage they have. That's because I just said there's no winter, so we can't grow many varieties, or it's difficult if we try. For example, the pineapple grows the crown, but it doesn't produce the fruit. Because we said we have warm temperatures all year round. We have a succession of seasons. They also tend to have a succession of seasons, but it's always warm. This flower is called, what's your name? Anato basically is the local lip balm. It's used as a dye. You see the red color it has. It's not to be ingested, and women also use it as lipstick. So it's beautiful, by the way. Basically, it's a beautiful, big, gorgeous tree. Look how beautiful it is. You see it. It's really something beautiful. You can use it as a dye, but you can't eat it. You're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Then you see their cows are really skinny. They have a hump, but is it because they use them so much for transport? It doesn't really look like a buffalo, but it's not much like our cow either. We all know this one because it's nutmeg. Its tree is basically this one. It almost looks like a walnut tree, but it's very, very unique. Do you use the filaments? You use this? Yes, we're making a perfume. So with these parts here, they make a perfume. If I understood correctly, that's what he told me. Instead, the nutmeg comes later, I think. It has to be dried and then used. This one here, folks, no, it's a tree. They can't do it. He told us an anecdote that maybe nutmeg, if taken in large doses, can be a drug. Okay, I already told him when someone is very, very shy, you give them nutmeg. And so maybe, of course, we don't endorse this. Be careful, because nutmeg, as he said, of course, in large doses, you probably have to finish a whole nutmeg. But he was very enthusiastic about this custom for, let's say, courting even the most, well, you know what I mean. Another climbing plant, and this one I have to tell you is super famous. In fact, it's used to make my favorite pasta dish. Let's see if you recognize it like this. I didn't recognize it. I absolutely didn't recognize it. This one, folks, is pepper. It's a climbing plant. We can't grow this one in any way because it's too long, and so winter basically prevents us from doing it. But you see, they've already collected some seeds here. If you look, I see it. I think it's this one too. I see it hanging here. Because for them, it's really this continuous synergy that nature has to keep going. Here you have to be very skilled to figure out where the plants are, which ones they are. Clearly, the biggest effort here is never in growing it, like in our case, but rather it's in the harvesting, because it's a bit here, a bit there, over there, over there.
To make this flower,
You have to go up there on that plant here, tall, tall, very tall, and extremely tall. Now, why am I telling you this? Because you definitely recognize this one. If you smell it, in fact, it's the classic scent of soap. The soap, the clean scent from grandma, smells like this flower. What's your name? What's his name?
langi flower.
Langi flower. Hey, that's good. Now we know what grandma's soap smells like. No, this one is really good. It smells clean. Now we all know it. Coconut, but coconut palms. We can't do it here because it's not warm enough. What gets us isn't the 6 months of heat, it's the 6 months of cold. Having this climate helps not only with growth, but also Hakuna Matata, bye. Basically, he tied this rope and he's climbing up. They're going to pick up these things. They're just too low for him.
But, how are you?
Good,
It's morning. Hello. I'm wandering. Good.
Oh,
Thank you. Hakuna Matata.
So did you see what you can also grow in Italy? I have something, I'll try to bring it as a seed, cinnamon. I want to try to grow it. The biggest limitation we have, as I was telling you, is a bit about the temperatures. In fact, even though we may have seasons that allow certain plants to grow, because it's hot in the summer itself, so bananas grow, pineapples grow, that's true, but it's a different story. However, we don't have enough prolonged heat throughout the year to actually bring it to fruit, so we can only grow something there. But without great success. However, I repeat, with some spices, there's no need, so it was important to show it now. I'm here these days to carry forward a project that I hope will come to light in the world of coffee, which is quite a complicated world in the sense that I would like to reach. To tell you more specifically what coffee is, where it comes from, and why coffee is an excellence for us in Italy. But we only do the processing, not the cultivation. Cultivation can only be done in tropical areas, so near the equator, like in this case. So let's stay there and listen, and let's see together if we can move it forward. Anyway, down here in the comments, try to write to me if you want a project dedicated to coffee. That's all from your Matt from Zanzibar. See you in the next video. Thank you.